Hello class, Bryce Parks here. In this video, we're going to be looking at how to make the drawing 9 magic squares. So I'm going to click on New Drawing. Again, you want to make sure your first and last name start out the drawing, and then you're going to simply type in the 9 magic squares. Change your units to imperial if you have not changed those yet, and click on Open. So it is now setting up the drawing. Once again, this process may take a little bit, especially if you have a slower internet connection. I have had some students tell me it's taken them 2 to 3 minutes. We timed it on one student's and it came out like 3 minutes long that it took because they had a slower internet connection. All right, so for this video, we're going to be looking at how to draw the 9 magic squares. So what you want to do is you want to pull up the PDF and simply look at that, making sure you understand. Basically, it is a square box, and inside it has 9 squares that are placed within it. And you're going to look at the dimensions. The dimensions on here tell you what the spaces should be. So I'm going to walk you through this process. Now, at this point, we've looked at the basic draw commands, and we've looked at some of the modify commands, including the erase, the move, the copy, the trim, and the offset. You will need to know how to use these commands for this 9 magic squares drawing. I'm going to encourage you to draw single lines at this point. Do not use the rectangle command, because the rectangle command, you have to explode it to separate the lines out to get it to do what you want it to do. So just don't use that right now. We'll cover how to explode and join lines together in a later video. But I'm going to simply use my line command, and I'm going to start over here. Now, once again, if you're zoomed way out, notice if you start dragging your screen and it's reading in the hundreds, that means your first line you probably won't be able to see too well. So if I look at it, the outside box is where I'm going to start, and it's a 6.5 by 6.5. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to turn on my ortho and click the ortho button, and I'm going to simply type in 6.5 and hit enter. Now it has drawn that 6.5 line. So if I want to zoom in, I'm going to hit escape to get out of the command. And I'm going to come up here to this little blue X and click on Zoom Extents, and it zooms me in to that line I just drew. So that's a 6.5 inch line. Click back on my line command, and I'm going to snap to, once again, the little green box at the end means it's going to snap to the end point. So I'm going to click there. Notice I'm leaving my ortho on, so it does straight, horizontal, and vertical lines. So I'm going to simply walk around this box, making it 6.5, hit enter. I'm going to scroll my mouse wheel out. 6.5. Notice I'm put my cursor in the right direction and hit enter. I'm going to go down 6.5 and hit enter. So now I have 4 separate lines for this outside box. Now at this point, if I look back on the blueprint, it tells me that around the edges is 0.75, and this goes all the way around on all the edges. So I'm going to now, on my modify commands, I'm either going to use the offset or I'm going to use the copy. And these are completely up to you. It'll do the same thing. So let me say I want to do my offset command. I'm going to simply click it here. I'm going to come in and I'm going to type in 0.75 because that's the distance around the edge. So there's 0.75 there. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom, 0.75. Make sure that your cursor, your cursor is in the ortho, 0.75, and one more here, selecting and going in 0.75. So now what I've done is I've made the outermost box, which is the finished box, and now I've come in here and I've put in the other ones. Now, for you on the screen here, to make this easier for you, I'm going to go ahead and trim these outer portions first so you can see it. You do not have to do this stage right now. You can do the trim all at once at the end if you want to. But I'm going to select on trim, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start trimming these out. So I can select them individually, or I can grab a fence and run it over like that. Either way will get you there. So now I've trimmed those out. So I have the outer box, and now I have the perimeter for these 9 boxes. So if you look on the blueprint, you will see that each of the 9 boxes is a 1x1 cube. Now, if you see the word TYP on the blueprint, what that means is typical. So that means common unless it's specified somewhere else differently. So the 1 inch by 1 inch cube TYP means every one of those cubes is going to be a 1 inch by 1 inch box. And then it also has the dimension on the blueprint that says gap is 1 inch, typical inside, meaning all the gaps now are going to be an inch even. So in this case, once again, you could use your copy command or your offset. Let's go ahead and do the, we'll just do the offset. And so I select my item and I go in the direction and I want it 1 inch. And then I want the gap to be 1 inch. So I'm going to select the next line and hit 1 inch, enter. And the next cube set is going to be 1 inch. So 1 inch, enter. And I'm still in that offset command and I'm just running these 1 inch apart. Okay, so let me hit escape here. So I've offset those boxes there. I'll show you the same thing with the copy command. Once again, you can use offset or copy. If you use the copy, you're going to simply select on your original line, and then you would hit enter. And then it says the base point. Where do you want to start from? So you could click somewhere. I don't recommend clicking on the inside unless you're going from a point to a point. So I'm going to simply select out there. Once again, you want to make sure your ortho is on so you're not going at a diagonal. And I would just simply hit 1, enter. And then I would have to step it off and hit 2, enter, 3, enter, 4, enter. And it would add those in or copy those lines. So the advantage with the copy command is you can type in the numbers a lot more quickly and you don't have to select on every line you want to offset. The advantage with the offset command is you don't have to do the math of adding 1, 2, 3, 4. You could just simply do 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch for the offset. So I have now all 9 boxes drawn, exactly 1 by 1 size. Now I need to go in and I need to trim these out. So I'm going to simply select on the trim command. In this case, I'm going to come in here and run a fence, which means I'm going to click my mouse and drag it over, and it trims those out, and it trims these out. And I'm going to run it down, trimming those lines out and trimming these lines out. And now I have my 9 magic boxes or 9 magic squares drawing. And that's all there is. And then you could simply click on save to save that file and click up here to share. And you're going to share an editable link. So click on edit, save a copy, and just click on copy link. And when you do that, you're going to simply go into your classroom and upload that assignment. And I'll go in and grade it. Please let me know if you have any questions on how to do this. I'm here to help you. And good luck with your next drawing.